Lieutenant Commander Lee Hanna sat at her communications station aboard the UES Harmony. Her fingers moved quickly across the control panels as she checked the morning reports. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Captain Kim Dajan would arrive soon for the daily briefing. Hanna looked like any other communications officer. She wore the standard blue uniform with her rank displayed on her shoulders. Her black hair was pulled back in a neat bun. Nobody would guess that she once flew the deadliest fighters in human space. The door slid open and Ensign Park Jinwoo walked in carrying a data pad. He was young and eager, fresh from the academy. Jinwoo always asked too many questions, but Hanna found his curiosity refreshing. "Commander Hanna, I have the fighter bay maintenance reports," Jinwoo said. He handed her the data pad with a smile. "Thank you, Jinwoo," Hanna replied. She took the pad and began reading. The reports detailed fuel consumption, weapon systems checks, and engine performance for the ship's small fighter squadron. As she read, her eyes caught details that most officers would miss. The third fighter showed signs of engine stress. The pilot was pushing too hard during training runs. Fighter 7 had a slight delay in its targeting system that could prove deadly in combat. Fighter 12 needed new heat shields after atmospheric entry practice. Hanna made notes about each problem. Her comments were precise and technical. She understood fighter systems better than anyone on the ship, but she never explained how she knew so much. "Commander, how do you know all this technical stuff about fighters?" Jinwoo asked. He leaned against her desk, clearly curious. Hanna paused for a moment. "I studied engineering at the academy," she said. It was not exactly a lie, but it was not the whole truth either. The truth was much more complicated. 3 years ago, Hanna had been known by a different name in military circles, Ghost 7. She was the most feared human pilot in the galaxy, 47 confirmed kills against the Vex Collective's drone swarms. The Distinguished Service Cross hung in a box in her quarters, hidden away with her flight suit and helmet. She remembered the last mission clearly. The Vex had launched a massive attack on the colony world of New Sol. Hanna led a squadron of 12 fighters against 300 enemy drones. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, only 2 human fighters remained operational. Hanna was one of them. Her squadron mates had not been so lucky. 12 good pilots died that day, including her best friend Commander Yu Minho. He had been like a brother to her. They had trained together, fought together, and planned to retire together. Instead, she watched his fighter explode in a ball of fire and debris. After New Sol, Hanna requested a transfer to communications. The admirals thought she was suffering from combat stress. They were right, but not in the way they imagined. Hanna was not afraid to fight. She was afraid of losing more people she cared about. The communication systems aboard the Harmony were complex but peaceful. She could coordinate fleet movements and handle diplomatic messages without watching friends die. It seemed like a good compromise. "Commander Hanna, Captain Kim wants to see you on the bridge," announced Chief Engineer Nam Suho over the intercom. Hanna closed the maintenance reports and stood up. She walked through the ship's corridors, passing crew members who nodded respectfully. They knew her as a competent officer who did her job well. None of them suspected her past. The bridge of the Harmony was larger than most warships. It was designed for diplomacy rather than combat. The captain's chair sat in the center, surrounded by workstations for communications, navigation, and sensors. Large viewing screens showed the stars outside. Captain Kim stood near the main display screen. He was a tall man in his 40s with gray hair and serious eyes. Kim had served in the Merchant Marine before joining the Diplomatic Corps. He understood both business and politics. "Hanna, good morning," Kim said as she approached. "I have news about our next assignment." "What kind of assignment, Captain?" Hanna asked. Kim touched a control and the main screen changed. It now showed a space station orbiting a gas giant. The station was massive, with multiple docking rings and industrial sections. Ships from different species moved around it like busy insects. "This is Kepler Station," Kim explained. "It sits at the edge of human space near the Altarian Trade Federation borders. The station serves as a neutral meeting point for different species." Hanna studied the image. She had heard of Kepler Station but never visited it. The station was known for its strict neutrality and excellent security. Many important deals were made there. "We are going to negotiate mining rights with the Altarians," Kim continued. "They control several systems rich in rare metals. Humanity needs those materials for our expansion projects. The assignment sounded routine. Hana had handled similar missions before. She would coordinate communications between the human delegation and the Altarian representatives. It usually involved a lot of translating and message forwarding. "How long will the negotiations take?" Hana asked. "Probably 2 weeks," Kim replied. "The Altarians are known for being very careful with their decisions. They will want to discuss every detail multiple times." Commander Cho Minji, the ship's tactical officer, looked up from her station. She was a sharp woman who always paid attention to security matters. "Captain, I am reading some unusual energy signatures from the long-range sensors," Minji said. Her voice carried a note of concern. Kim walked over to her station. "What kind of signatures?" Minji frowned at her displays. "Unknown configuration. Multiple contacts moving at high speed toward the Kepler system. The energy output is much higher than normal commercial traffic." Hana felt a familiar chill run down her spine. Her pilot instincts were awakening after 3 years of dormancy. High-speed contacts with unknown energy signatures usually meant trouble. "How far out are they?" Kim asked. "Approximately 6 hours from Kepler Station," Minji replied. "At their current speed, they will arrive shortly after we do." Kim considered this information carefully. The Harmony was a diplomatic vessel, not a warship. It carried only a small fighter squadron for escort duties. If trouble was heading toward Kepler Station, they might be flying into a dangerous situation. "Continue monitoring those contacts," Kim ordered, "and prepare a message to Kepler Station. Warn them about the approaching ships." "Yes, Captain," Minji replied. Hana returned to her communication station with mixed feelings. Part of her hoped the unknown contacts were just merchants or explorers. But another part of her, the part that remembered being Ghost 7, suspected that their routine diplomatic mission was about to become much more complicated. She began preparing communication protocols for emergency situations. It had been 3 years since she had needed them, but old habits died hard. As she worked, Hana tried to ignore the voice in her head that whispered she might need to become a pilot again very soon. The UES Harmony dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system. Captain Kim Daejin stood on the bridge watching the main screen as Kepler Station came into view. But something was terribly wrong. The massive station was under attack. Bright flashes of weapon fire lit up the darkness of space. Strange ships with crystalline hulls surrounded the station like predators circling wounded prey. Their weapons fired streams of purple energy that cut through the station's shields. "Battle stations," Kim ordered immediately. "All hands to emergency positions." Alarms began ringing throughout the ship. Hana felt her heart racing as she activated emergency communication protocols. The peaceful diplomatic mission had turned into a nightmare in seconds. "Captain, I am reading 17 enemy vessels," reported Commander Cho Minji from her tactical station. "Their design does not match any known species in our database. The alien ships were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. They looked like they were grown rather than built. Their hulls seemed to be made of some kind of living crystal that reflected the weapon fire in rainbow patterns. Each ship was roughly the size of a human destroyer, but moved with impossible grace. "Are they responding to our hail?" Kim asked Hana. Hana tried every communication frequency she knew. "Negative, Captain. They are not answering on any channel. I am also detecting jamming signals. They are blocking most communications with the station." Through the jamming, broken messages came through from Kepler Station. The station commander was calling for help. Civilian ships were trying to evacuate, but the alien vessels were destroying anything that moved. "Captain, request permission to launch a rescue mission," called Ensign Park Jin-woo from the pilot ready room. His voice came through the intercom with determination and fear. Kim looked at the tactical display. The enemy ships were too numerous and too powerful for a direct assault. But hundreds of civilians were trapped on that station. He could not just abandon them. "Permission granted, Jinwoo. Take Shuttle Bay 2 and see if you can extract some civilians from the outer docking ring." Hana watched through the external cameras as Jinwoo's shuttle launched from the Harmony. The small craft moved quickly toward the battle zone. She held her breath as purple energy beams flashed around the shuttle. Jinwoo was a good pilot, but he was young and inexperienced in combat. He flew the shuttle like he was still in training exercises. His movements were predictable and careful. In battle, predictable meant dead. "Jinwoo, vary your flight pattern," Hana called over the communication channel. "Do not fly in straight lines." The young pilot tried to follow her advice, but it was too late. 3 alien fighters broke away from the main group and moved to intercept the shuttle. They were sleek and deadly, moving through space like silver fish through water. The alien fighters opened fire with weapons that shot bolts of crackling energy. Jinwoo tried to dodge, but his shuttle was too slow and too big. The first bolt struck his port engine. The second hit his communications array. The third nearly took off his entire tail section. "Mayday, mayday!" Jinwoo's voice crackled through the damaged radio. "I am hit and losing power." Returning to base, the shuttle limped back toward the Harmony, trailing smoke and debris. The alien fighters followed for a moment, then returned to their attack on the station. They seemed satisfied to have driven off the rescue attempt. Hana helped guide the damaged shuttle back to the landing bay. When Jinwoo climbed out of his craft, his face was pale and his hands were shaking. He had never been shot at before. "They are fast," he reported to the bridge crew. "Faster than anything I have ever seen. And their weapons are incredibly powerful. My shuttle's shields lasted maybe 10 seconds against them." Captain Kim studied the tactical display with growing concern. The alien ships were methodically destroying the station's defenses. Each section that lost its shields was hit with concentrated fire until it went dark. Commander Minji ran analysis on the sensor data from Jinwoo's encounter. "Captain, these aliens are using advanced plasma weapons and energy shields. Their technology appears to be at least 50 years ahead of our own." "What about their tactics?" Kim asked. Minji pulled up flight recordings from the shuttle's cameras. "They fight with perfect coordination. Every movement seems planned and precise. Their formations never break, even under fire." Hana watched the recordings carefully. Her old pilot instincts were analyzing every detail. The alien fighters moved beautifully, but there was something strange about their patterns. They flew like they were following a computer program rather than making split-second decisions. "They are too perfect," she said quietly. "What do you mean?" Kim asked. Hana pointed to the screen. "Look at how they turn. Every movement is exactly the same angle, the same speed. Human pilots would vary their maneuvers, try unexpected moves. These aliens fight like machines." "Are you saying they are robots?" Minji asked. "Not robots exactly," Hana replied, "but they might be following preset attack patterns. If that is true, then they would have trouble adapting to unexpected tactics." Kim looked thoughtful. "Could we use that against them?" Before Hana could answer, the long-range sensors detected new contacts. More alien ships were arriving in the system. The enemy fleet was growing larger by the minute. "Captain, we are receiving a transmission from Kepler Station," Hana announced. The message was broken and full of static, but she could make out the important details. "This is Station Commander Lee Bong-soo. We have lost main power to sections 7 through 12. Civilian evacuations have stopped. We estimate 400 people still trapped in the outer rings. Please advise." Kim closed his eyes for a moment. 400 civilians were going to die unless someone helped them. But the Harmony was a diplomatic ship with a small fighter squadron. They were not equipped for this kind of battle. "Captain, more enemy contacts incoming," Minji reported. "I count at least 12 additional vessels dropping out of hyperspace." The situation was getting worse by the minute. Soon there would be 30 enemy ships in the system. The station's defenses were already failing. In another hour, everyone on Kepler Station would be dead. Hana stared at the tactical display and felt something stirring inside her chest. It was a feeling she had not experienced in 3 years. The need to fight, the need to protect innocent people. She thought about the 400 civilians trapped on that station. They were probably families with children, traders who had come to make deals, station workers who just wanted to go home. They did not deserve to die because some alien fleet had decided to attack. "Captain," she said carefully, "what if we had better fighters?" "What do you mean?" Kim asked. Hana took a deep breath. "I need to check something in the cargo bays." "Give me 10 minutes. She left the bridge without waiting for permission. Deep in the ship's lower levels, she found what she was looking for. Cargo Bay 7 contained a single item that might change everything. An old F-22 Raptor fighter sat in the bay like a sleeping predator. It was supposed to be a museum piece, but someone had modified it with fusion engines and energy weapons. The ancient Earth fighter looked ready for war. Hana ran her hand along the Raptor's wing and smiled grimly. She had found their ace in the hole. Hana stood alone in Cargo Bay 7, staring at the modified F-22 Raptor. The fighter looked dangerous even while sitting still. Someone had done incredible work upgrading the old Earth design for space combat. The original atmospheric engines had been replaced with fusion drives. Energy weapon ports were mounted where the old missile pylons used to be. A quantum shield generator sat where the gun ammunition storage once was. This was not a museum piece anymore. This was a weapon. She climbed up to examine the cockpit. The controls were a mixture of original instruments and new technology. Whoever had modified this fighter knew what they were doing. The pilot seat still had the original ejection system, but now it was connected to a personal spacesuit instead of a parachute. Hana heard footsteps behind her. Chief Engineer Nam Suho entered the cargo bay carrying a datapad. He was a quiet man who usually stayed in the engine rooms, but today his face showed worry. "Commander Hana, what are you doing here?" Suho asked. "Looking at this fighter," she replied. "Do you know anything about it?" Suho walked over to join her. "Yes, I helped load it at our last port. It was supposed to go to the military museum on Earth Prime, but somebody made some very interesting changes to it first." He showed her the datapad. It contained technical specifications for the modified Raptor. The performance numbers made Hana's eyes widen. This fighter was faster and more maneuverable than anything in their current squadron. "The person who upgraded this new advanced fighter design," Suho continued. "They installed military-grade shields and weapons that are not available to civilians. Whoever did this work had serious connections. Is it ready to fly?" Hana asked. "The systems all check out," Suho replied. "But nobody on this ship knows how to fly an atmospheric fighter. Our pilots are trained on space-only craft. This thing was designed to fight in air and gravity." Hana nodded thoughtfully. Modern space fighters used computer assistance for everything. They were stable and predictable. But atmospheric fighters required constant pilot input. They demanded split-second reflexes and intuitive understanding of flight dynamics. The intercom crackled to life. "All senior officers report to the bridge immediately," came Captain Kim's voice. Hana and Suho made their way back to the bridge. When they arrived, they found the entire command crew gathered around the tactical display. The situation at Kepler Station was getting worse. "The enemy fleet now has 32 ships," Commander Minji reported. "They have completely surrounded the station. No civilian ships have been able to escape for the past hour." Captain Kim looked around at his officers. "I need options. We cannot abandon those civilians, but we also cannot take on 32 advanced warships with our small fighter squadron." "Sir, what about that modified fighter in Cargo Bay 7? Suho asked. "It might give us an advantage," Kim raised an eyebrow. "What modified fighter?" Suho explained about the F-22 Raptor and its upgrades. The bridge crew listened with growing interest. A fighter with atmospheric capabilities might be able to use tactics that the aliens had never seen before. "The problem is finding someone who can fly it," Minji said. "Atmospheric flight is completely different from space combat. It requires years of specialized training." Ensign Jinwoo stepped forward despite his injured arm. "I volunteer, Captain." "I am willing to try." Hana felt her heart sink. Jinwoo was brave but inexperienced. He had barely survived one encounter with the alien fighters in a slow shuttle. Putting him in a fast combat craft would be sending him to his death. "Jinwoo, you are injured," Kim said gently, "and you have no atmospheric flight experience. Those alien fighters destroyed your shuttle in seconds." "Then what do we do, sir?" Jinwoo asked. "Just watch while 400 people die?" The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew he was right, but nobody had a solution. The aliens were too numerous and too advanced. Their small fighter squadron would be wiped out in minutes. Hana stared at the tactical display and made her decision. She walked over to Captain Kim's command chair and handed him her personal datapad. On the screen was her complete military record, including files that had been classified for 3 years. Kim read the information, and his expression changed from confusion to shock. "Ghost 7? He said quietly. "Yes, sir," Hana replied. "I was hoping to keep that part of my life private, but circumstances have changed." The other officers gathered around to see what had surprised their captain so much. When they read about Hana's 47 confirmed kills and her tactical evaluations, their attitudes toward their quiet communications officer changed completely. "You are an ace pilot?" Jinwoo asked in amazement. "I was," Hana replied. "I transferred to communications after my last mission. I lost my entire squadron fighting the Vex. I did not want to lose anyone else." Captain Kim studied her personnel file more carefully. "It says here that you specialized in atmospheric fighters before moving to space combat." You have experience with the F-22 Raptor specifically. Hana nodded. I trained on them at the academy. The Raptor was considered the ultimate atmospheric fighter. Fast, maneuverable, and deadly in the right hands. Why did you hide this? Kim asked. Because every time I get in a fighter, people I care about tend to die, Hana said honestly. I thought I was done with combat. Kim looked at the tactical display showing the doomed station. What do you think our chances are? Hana studied the alien ship formations. In space fighters, 0. Those aliens have superior technology and numbers. But in an atmospheric fighter using unconventional tactics, we might have a chance. Explain. Atmospheric fighters were designed to be unstable, she said. They can change direction instantly, pull maneuvers that would tear apart a space fighter. The aliens fight with perfect formations and predictable patterns. They would not know how to counter atmospheric combat tactics. Kim was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he made his decision. Commander Hana, I am ordering you to take the modified Raptor and engage the enemy fleet. Sir, I should point out that this will probably be a one-way mission, Hana said. 1 fighter against 32 ships. I understand, Kim replied. But you are our only hope of saving those civilians, Hana saluted. Yes, sir. I will need Chief Suho to help me with the pre-flight checks. As she left the bridge, Hana felt the old familiar feeling returning. The mixture of fear and excitement that came before every combat mission. She was about to become Ghost 7 again, whether she wanted to or not. Cargo Bay 7 became a center of frantic activity. Chief Engineer Nam Suho ran final systems checks on the modified F-22 Raptor, while Hana suited up in the pilot-ready room. She had not worn a flight suit in 3 years, but her hands remembered every strap and connection. The suit felt heavier than she remembered, or maybe she just felt the weight of responsibility. 400 civilians were counting on her to do something impossible. 1 fighter against 32 advanced alien warships. Commander, all systems show green, Suho reported over the intercom. Fusion engines are at full power. Weapons are loaded and ready. Quantum shields are operating at maximum efficiency. Hana walked across the cargo bay to her fighter. The Raptor seemed to crouch like a predator waiting to strike. Its angular design looked primitive compared to the smooth curves of modern space fighters. But she knew that appearance was deceiving. She climbed into the cockpit and began her pre-flight routine. Her hands moved across the controls automatically, checking instruments and testing systems. The cockpit felt like coming home after a long journey. Ghost 7, this is Harmony Control, came Captain Kim's voice through her helmet radio. Are you ready for launch? Hana paused before answering. Once she launched, there would be no going back. She would either save those civilians or die trying. There was no middle ground in combat. Harmony Control, this is Ghost 7, she replied. Ready for launch. The cargo bay doors opened to reveal the star field beyond. In the distance, she could see the flashes of weapons fire around Kepler Station. The alien fleet was still pounding the defenses methodically. Hana pushed the throttle forward and felt the Raptor surge out of the cargo bay. The fusion engines responded instantly to her touch. The modified fighter accelerated faster than any space fighter she had ever flown. As she flew toward the battle zone, memories from her training days came flooding back. The F-22 Raptor had been designed for atmospheric combat, where air resistance and gravity created constant challenges. In space, those same design features became advantages. Ghost 7, I am reading 6 enemy fighters moving to intercept you, reported Commander Minji from the Harmony. They will reach your position in 90 seconds. Understood, Harmony, Hana replied. She adjusted her course slightly and armed her weapons. The modified particle cannon showed ready status on her display. The alien fighters appeared on her sensors as silver dots moving at incredible speed. They flew in perfect formation, just as she had observed before. Their movements were precise and coordinated, but also predictable. Hana waited until they were almost in weapons range, then executed a maneuver that no spacefighter could perform. She rolled the Raptor 90 degrees and pulled a crushing turn that would have torn apart any spacecraft designed only for vacuum. The alien fighters tried to follow her movement, but their formation broke apart. They had been programmed to fight opponents who flew in straight lines and gentle curves. Hana was flying like she was still in an atmosphere, making impossible turns and sudden direction changes. She opened fire with her particle cannons as the alien formation scattered. Her first burst caught one fighter completely by surprise. The energy beams punched through its crystalline hull and the alien craft exploded in a shower of debris. First kill confirmed, she reported to the Harmony. 31 to go. The remaining 5 alien fighters regrouped and came at her from different angles. They were adapting to her tactics, but not fast enough. Hana used the Raptor's superior maneuverability to stay one step ahead of their targeting systems. She dove toward Kepler Station using the massive structure for cover. The alien fighters followed, firing streams of purple energy that lit up the darkness around them. But their shots could not find their target. Hana flew between the station's docking arms like a thread through a needle. The alien fighters tried to follow, but their larger size forced them into wider turns. She used their size against them, leading them through obstacles that favored her smaller, more agile craft. Ghost 7, you have 3 more enemy fighters joining the pursuit, Minji warned. They are coming in from your port side. Hana glanced at her sensors and saw the new contacts. 8 fighters total now, all converging on her position. Time for something dramatic. She pulled the Raptor into a vertical climb relative to the station's axis. The alien fighters followed in formation, trying to box her in, but Hana had learned this trick fighting the Vex drones years ago. At the top of her climb, she cut power and flipped the fighter completely around. Now she was diving directly at the pursuing aliens while they were still climbing toward where she used to be. Her weapons locked onto the lead fighter, and she opened fire at point-blank range. The particle beams tore through the alien craft's shields and hull. Another kill. The other aliens scattered in confusion. Their perfect formation programming could not handle an opponent who changed direction so drastically. Hana pressed her advantage, picking off 2 more fighters before they could reorganize. 4 confirmed kills, she reported. The enemy formation is broken, but her success attracted attention from the main fleet. Sensors showed 12 more alien fighters breaking away from the station attack and heading in her direction. Ghost 7, you have reinforcements incoming, Kim warned. Recommend you withdraw and regroup. Hana looked at her fuel and ammunition levels. She still had plenty of both, but 16 alien fighters would be a serious challenge even for her skills. Negative, Harmony, she replied. Those civilians do not have time for me to regroup. I am pressing the attack. She dove back toward Kepler Station, using its superstructure for cover once again. The station was massive, with hundreds of docking ports, communication arrays, and industrial modules. It was like fighting in a 3-dimensional city. The alien fighters followed her into the maze of metal and machinery. But they were not designed for this kind of close-quarters combat. Their weapons were meant for long-range engagements in open space. Hana used every trick she had learned in 3 years of combat against the Vex. She flew through gaps barely wider than her fighter, used sensor shadows to disappear from enemy targeting, and attacked from unexpected angles. One by one, the alien fighters fell to her guns. Some tried to ram her when their weapons could not lock on, but the Raptor was too quick and agile. Others tried to retreat, but she hunted them down ruthlessly. That is 8 kills total, she reported as the last pursuer exploded. The immediate area is clear. Outstanding work, Ghost 7, Captain Kim replied. But sensors show the main enemy fleet is moving toward your position. You have about 24 capital ships heading your way. Hana looked at the tactical display and felt her heart sink. Capital ships were much larger and more dangerous than fighters. Their weapons could destroy her with a single hit, but they were also slower and less maneuverable. Copy that, Harmony, she said. Time to see what this old bird can really do. The alien capital ships moved toward Kepler Station like a pack of hunting predators. Each vessel was 3 times the size of the Harmony, their crystalline hulls gleaming with deadly beauty. Hana could see weapon ports opening along their flanks like hungry mouths. Ghost 7, those ships are preparing to fire, Commander Minji warned from the Harmony. I count over 200 heavy plasma cannons targeting the station. Hana studied her tactical display. If all those weapons fired at once, they would punch through the station's remaining shields and kill everyone inside. She had maybe 30 seconds before they opened fire. Harmony, I need you to target the lead ship's shield generators, she said. I am going to make a run on their command vessel. Ghost 7, that is suicide, Captain Kim replied. Those capital ships have point defense systems specifically designed to stop fighters. Then I better not give them time to use them, Hana said grimly. She pushed the Raptor's engines to maximum power and streaked toward the enemy formation. The modified fighter accelerated like a bullet, leaving a trail of fusion exhaust behind it. The alien ships detected her approach and began firing. Streams of purple energy filled the space around her, as dozens of point defense weapons tried to track her movement. But Hana flew the Raptor like it was part of her own body, twisting and rolling through the deadly light show. "Come on, you crystalline beauties," she muttered. "Let us see how you handle some old-fashioned Earth tactics." She aimed for the gap between two capital ships and dove through at full speed. The alien weapons tried to follow her but hit their own vessels instead. Two ships suffered minor damage from friendly fire, causing their formations to spread apart. Hana used the confusion to her advantage. She targeted the shield generators on the lead ship with her quantum missiles. The small weapons were designed to punch through heavy armor, and they found their target with deadly accuracy. The alien ship's shields flickered and died. Immediately, the Harmony's weapons opened fire from long range. Their particle beams struck the unprotected hull and carved deep gouges in the crystalline armor. "Direct hit on enemy flagship," Minji reported. "Their main weapons are offline." But the other alien ships were adapting quickly. They changed formation to protect each other's vulnerable points and began firing in coordinated patterns that created walls of energy across Hana's flight path. She found herself trapped between overlapping fields of plasma fire. No matter which way she turned, deadly energy beams waited for her. The Raptor's shields began taking hits, their strength dropping rapidly. "Shield power at 60%, her fighter's computer announced in a calm voice. Hana gritted her teeth and dove toward the station again. She needed cover, and the massive structure was her only option. But the alien ships had anticipated this move. Three capital ships positioned themselves between her and safety, their weapons creating an impassable barrier. "I am cut off from the station," she reported, going to try something desperate. Instead of heading for cover, Hana turned directly toward the nearest capital ship. She flew straight at its main weapon ports, staying just ahead of their targeting systems. At the last possible moment, she rolled the Raptor sideways and fired all her remaining missiles directly into the ship's hull. The quantum warheads punched through the alien armor and exploded inside the vessel. Secondary explosions rippled along the ship's length as internal systems overloaded. The capital ship began to drift, its weapons silent. "Second capital ship disabled," Hana announced. "But I am out of missiles." She still had her particle cannons, but their range was limited compared to the aliens' heavy plasma weapons. She would have to get dangerously close to be effective, and her shields were already weakened. The remaining alien ships began to converge on her position. They had learned to respect the small Earth fighter, and now they wanted to destroy it before it could cause more damage. "Ghost 7, you need to withdraw," Captain Kim ordered. "You have done enough. Let us handle the rest." Hana looked at her tactical display and saw that evacuation shuttles were finally launching from Kepler Station. Her attacks had created enough confusion for the civilians to begin escaping, but there were still hundreds of people trapped inside. "Negative, Harmony," she replied. "The job is not finished yet." She noticed something interesting about the alien formations. When they fired their main weapons, there was a brief moment when their shields weakened to allow the energy discharge. It was a tiny window of vulnerability, but it might be enough. Hana began timing the alien weapon cycles. She flew erratically to avoid their fire while studying their patterns. Each ship fired every 12 seconds. The shield weakness lasted exactly 1.3 seconds. She selected the largest enemy vessel and began her attack run. The alien ship's weapons tracked her approach, charging up for a massive plasma discharge that would vaporize her fighter in an instant. "Come on," she whispered. "Just a little closer." The alien weapons fired, sending a stream of deadly energy toward her position. But Hana had timed her maneuver perfectly. She rolled the Raptor through a gap in the plasma stream and opened fire with her particle cannons. Her shots struck the alien ship during its moment of shield weakness. The energy beams punched deep into the crystalline hull and found something critical. The capital ship exploded in a brilliant flash that lit up the entire battle zone. "Third capital ship destroyed," she reported. But the celebration was brief. Her shields were down to 20% and more alien ships were closing in. "Ghost 7, I am reading massive energy buildup from the remaining enemy vessels," Minji warned. "They are preparing for a coordinated strike." Hana saw it on her sensors. Every remaining alien ship was charging its weapons for a simultaneous attack. They were going to create an energy field so dense that nothing could survive inside it. She had perhaps 10 seconds before they fired. Not enough time to reach safety, but maybe enough time for one last desperate gambit. "Harmony, prepare to target the alien flagship on my signal," she said. "Ghost 7, what are you planning?" Kim asked. Hana smiled grimly as she pushed her damaged fighter toward the enemy formation one final time. something my old friend Minho would have called gloriously stupid. She aimed the Raptor directly at the alien flagship's bridge section and pushed the engines past their safety limits. The fusion drive began to overheat, but it gave her the speed she needed. "Now, Harmony," she called. "Fire everything you have." The Harmony's weapons fired at the exact moment Hana streaked past the alien flagship. Her overloaded engines created a brilliant trail of fusion fire that marked her path through the enemy formation. The ship's particle beams followed in her wake, striking the flagship's bridge section with devastating force. The alien command ship shuddered under the combined assault. Its crystalline hull cracked and split, releasing atmosphere and debris into space. But it was not enough to stop the coordinated attack from the remaining vessels. 18 alien capital ships fired their main weapons simultaneously. The space around Kepler Station became a cage of deadly purple energy. Nothing could survive inside that killing field, not even the modified F-22 Raptor. But Hana was no longer trying to survive. She was trying to complete the mission. She aimed her dying fighter directly at the flagship's main reactor section. The Raptor's shields had failed completely, and plasma fire was eating through the hull. Her cockpit filled with smoke as systems overloaded one by one. "This is for Minho and all the others," she whispered. At the last possible moment, she ejected from the fighter. Her spacesuit's thrusters fired automatically, carrying her away from the Raptor as it continued toward its target. She watched through her helmet visor as her faithful fighter completed its final mission. The F-22 Raptor struck the alien flagship's reactor core at over 2,000 kilometers per hour. The impact itself was devastating, but the real damage came when the fighter's overloaded fusion engine exploded inside the enemy ship. The flagship's reactor containment failed in a cascade of brilliant explosions. The entire vessel was consumed by nuclear fire that spread to 2 nearby ships. In seconds, 3 alien capital ships were reduced to expanding clouds of superheated gas and debris. The destruction of their command ship threw the alien fleet into chaos. Without central coordination, their perfect formations began to fall apart. Ship commanders tried to maintain the attack, but their tactical programs were not designed for independent operation. "Go 7. Report your status," Captain Kim called over the radio. Hana checked her suit's systems while drifting through the debris field. "I am alive, Harmony. The fighter is gone, but the enemy flagship is destroyed. The alien fleet appears to be in disarray." Indeed, the remaining alien ships were pulling back from Kepler Station. Some began charging their hyperspace drives while others tried to reform their broken formations. The loss of their command vessel had crippled their ability to fight effectively. "All civilian evacuation shuttles have cleared the station," reported Commander Minji. "The aliens are withdrawing from the system." Hana activated her suit's emergency beacon and waited for rescue. Through her helmet's display, she could see the alien fleet disappearing into hyperspace. Only wreckage remained of their once mighty formation. The rescue shuttle that picked her up was piloted by Ensign Jinwoo. His arm was still in a sling from his earlier encounter, but he wore a huge smile as he helped her into the craft. "Commander, that was the most incredible flying I have ever seen," he said with excitement. "You took on 30 alien ships and won." "We won," Hana corrected him. "It took the entire crew working together." When she arrived back on the Harmony, the bridge crew gave her a standing ovation. Captain Kim stepped forward with a solemn expression. "Commander Hana, on behalf of the 400 civilians you saved today, I want to thank you for your service," he said formally. "Your actions went far beyond the call of duty." But their celebration was interrupted by new contacts on the long-range sensors. Ships were dropping out of hyperspace throughout the system, but these were not hostile. Vessels from a dozen different species had come to investigate the battle. "Captain, we are receiving transmissions from Altarian, Centauri, and vegan fleets," Hana reported from her communication station. "They want to know what happened here." Word of the battle had spread quickly through subspace communication networks. The story of a single human fighter defeating an alien invasion fleet was racing across the galaxy faster than light. Over the next few hours, delegation ships from major galactic powers arrived at Kepler Station. They came to see the wreckage of the alien fleet and to meet the pilot who had stopped their attack. Ambassador Kayla Thess of the Altarian Trade Federation was the first to board the Harmony. She was a tall, graceful being with silver skin and large dark eyes. Her species was known for their careful diplomacy and long-term thinking. "Captain Kim, we are deeply impressed by your crew's actions today," she said in perfect English. The species you fought was unknown to us, but their technology was clearly advanced. For humanity to defeat them with a single fighter suggests remarkable skill and courage. Other ambassadors followed with similar praise. The Centauri Republic offered military alliance treaties. The Vegan Collective proposed technology-sharing agreements. Even species that had previously been neutral toward humanity expressed interest in closer relations. It seems that our diplomatic mission succeeded after all. Captain Kim observed privately to Hana. Just not in the way we expected. 3 days later, the Harmony departed Kepler Station with a cargo bay full of signed treaties and alliance agreements. The alien attack had accomplished something that years of careful negotiation had failed to achieve. It had shown the galaxy that humanity was a species worth respecting and allying with, but the most important conversation happened in Captain Kim's ready room on their final day at the Yao Station. Commander Hana, I have new orders for you, Kim said, handing her a data pad. Fleet Command wants to promote you to full commander and give you leadership of a new fighter squadron. Hana read the orders carefully. The assignment would mean returning to active combat duty, training new pilots and preparing for future encounters with unknown alien threats. What if I decline the promotion? She asked. Then you stay as my communications officer, Kim replied. The choice is yours. Hana was quiet for a long moment, thinking about her options. She could return to the peaceful life she had built in communications, or she could accept the responsibility of training the next generation of fighter pilots. Sir, I would like to stay in communications, she said finally, but I want to add combat training duties to my responsibilities. If we encounter more hostile species, our pilots need to know atmospheric fighter tactics. Kim smiled. I think that can be arranged. The galaxy is a dangerous place, and humanity needs all the skilled defenders it can find. As the Harmony jumped to hyperspace, Hana stood in the observation lounge watching the stars stream past. She had found a balance between her desire for peace and her duty to protect innocent lives. In her quarters, carefully stored in a sealed container, sat her old flight suit and helmet. She would keep them ready, just in case humanity needed Ghost 7 to fly again. The galaxy had learned that humans could be fierce warriors when necessary, but they preferred to build bridges between species rather than walls. It was a lesson that would shape interstellar politics for generations to come. And somewhere in the depths of space, other alien fleets received reports about the battle at Kepler Station. Most decided that humanity was a species better approached with diplomacy than weapons. The age of human expansion into the galaxy had begun, built on a foundation of courage, skill, and the willingness to fight for those who could not fight for themselves.